Hey Brandon, how's it going today?
Hey, Brennan, it's doing pretty good. Had a nice chill day today. How about you?
Pretty good. Just relaxing. Did a little work around the house today. So there's that.
hmm
How was Winter Jam last week? You went to Winter Jam.
I did go to Winter Jam and I had a blast there. So many incredible artist performers. It's my 10th year of going, so I absolutely loved it.
That's really great to hear. I'll be going here myself in a couple weeks. So
Nice. It's going to be amazing.
yeah, I can't wait. Anyway, welcome everyone to the Christian Music Growth Podcast. I'm Brendan and this is Brandon.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone.
I'm at one point I'm gonna just mess up our names. I know my name real well, but one day I'm just gonna say I'm Brandon or you're gonna say like I'm Brendan or something. It's gonna get confusing one day, I swear.
For sure. Yeah,
Or someone's gonna mess us up. Can we add a Brandon or Braden in here? Think about that for a minute.
we should. Mhm.
Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to introduce our guest today. So we have Kelly Alayna joining us, so we'll let Kelly introduce herself right now.
Hi, I'm Kelly Alayna. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for joining us. So we're going to start nice and easy. Can you tell us a little bit about your music background, how you got started and everything?
Sure. So I actually started playing by ear on the piano probably when I was about 5. And I was singing like before that. I have videos of me with 2 or 3 just rocking in a little tiny little chair and singing. But my mom had me in church and I'd sang in church my whole life. I did anything musically that was available in my small little town. I did it. So that was like choir and marching band. And then I thought I was going to be a band director, ended up marrying one instead, but that was my goal. And then I went to Troy University and changed it to graphic design and ended up doing that. But I was involved in the Sound of the South marching band, which is one of the best bands in my opinion, at Troy University. And I did like the music industry program. So that's where I learned really about songwriting. There was a guy by the name of Robert W. Smith. He was my professor, and he's like a world renowned composer. He's just awesome. He passed away here recently a few months ago, but he really got me started with songwriting and just the formality of it and the best way to go about it. So I just really owe that to him. But after that, after college, my husband and I got married and we moved to Panama City, which is where he's from. And we found a church there and I became involved with the praise team there at Forest Park Methodist Church there. And growing up in a Southern Baptist church, it was nothing but hymns. Like that's what I grew up on. And so when I was introduced to this church, they had a contemporary service and they had a traditional service. And I didn't want anything to do with the contemporary service because I was like, hymns, I just want to hear hymns. And the worship minister there, he talked me into, just give it a try. You might like it. And I grew up taking piano and I learned sheet music. And so when he wanted to get me involved, he said, here, play chords. And I had no idea how to do that. And so that was a process, but I owe him that for getting me into the contemporary scene and just falling in love with just that and worship music and learning how to play chords on the piano and all that. And so then there's where I met my former duo partner, Cori, because she was also on the praise team. And here we are now.
That's very cool. And you brought up Corey and Kelly, so we'll get into that a little bit. Brandon, you want to add
Okay.
anything off very quick before we carry on with the conversation?
Yeah, one thing about your music, which I love your songs, you've released several over the past few months, and you have a lot range of styles now compared to like some contemporary, some more southern, and then your recent pop release. What all goes into that influences your style of music that you do so well?
Gosh, I love all sorts of styles of music. I always joke about growing up in a small town because I'm from Hazelhurst, Georgia, and it's like really tiny. I mean, we do have more than one red light.
Mhm.
You hear people joke about that all the time, but probably the biggest store we have is a Walmart. So there's not a lot to listen to here. And so in high school, it was either like the honky tonk country, rap, or pop. There was some pop or really Southern gospel. And so I ended up listening to pop and I really liked it. Mariah Carey, Destiny's Child, like there was a lot of influences in sync. I was a big in sync
Mhm.
person. I loved it. And that's where I learned kind of how to do runs and just different musical influences. So there was where I got all of kind of like my pop background. And then Cori, Cori and I sang a lot of country together, and I know you said we'll talk about that later. But that's kind of where the country stuff came from, and then you got the worship thing. So I've just been influenced like my whole life with all sorts of different genres of music.
Love that.
I love that. And Brandon and I are both suckers for like different genres. Or like Brad and I always talk about like different genre this, different genre that. So that's really
Yes. Why be in a box? There's so many cool stuff out there. Just throw things out. Just experiment.
branch out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you just touched the base a little bit. You were one half of Cori and Kelly. Can you tell us a little bit about Cori and Kelly for those who are listening and who are not familiar with it and everything?
Yeah, so Cori, I met her at Forest Park in Panama City. It was probably around 2011, and we met on our church praise team, and we sang together. We Neither one of us had met somebody that was able to just quickly pick up on harmonies the way that we both were able to do that. And so we quickly, knew that we had something special. And we started in 2014 after being asked to sing at a women's retreat. And that was like our first time together. And soon after that, we were like, okay, this is something. We need to do something with this. And so for the next almost 10 years, we did all sorts of things from the Inspirational Country Music Association. We did a lot of stuff with that and did a lot of like the Christian country
Mhm.
style songs. And then here recently, the past couple of years, we got involved with the contemporary industry, made a lot of connections through there, was able to work with Jeff Pardo, which was really cool, on our very last release that we had together. But then, this is it's almost coming up on a year. It was this past April. Cori felt led to go in a different direction. And I mean, you can't argue with God, whatever, if you have a different direction that you're going to do. But I was devastated, honestly, because we had this whole thing built, and it was like I was climbing up a mountain and then all of a sudden I slid back down and I'm looking up and saying, God, do I climb it again or is this it for me? And so that's kind of where Kelly Alayna was born. I don't know if you want me to get into that, but you want me to segue into that, but
Yeah, I was gonna segue into our next conversation point anyway. So,
okay, cool.
so go ahead. You can go ahead and say segue if you want, Brandon. You okay with that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I would not trade anything that Cori and I had for nothing because it was a lot of lessons learned, a lot of connections made. That's how I developed who I am as an artist. But looking back now, I was at a place where that was it for me. Like I was not going to grow. And it was by no fault of Cori herself at all. She's super talented. I love her voice. I was so happy with just playing piano, singing harmony. Because I was like, you take the lead, you have an awesome voice. I'm good with this. I don't like talking. You just take over. And that's where I was. And so I know that a lot of the reason why this happened, it was God pushing me out of my comfort zone because
Mhm.
I have grown as an individual. Um, when April comes back around again, I'm going to look back on everything that I've done this past year. And I'm just mind blown because I have learned how to kind of produce a little bit. I'm still I mean, there's a lot that I don't know, but I'm able to actually put something together and release it and be halfway decent. And I'm very proud about that. And just, I didn't like my voice. When I was with Cori, I was very self conscious about my voice. I wasn't in love with it. And by finding my voice being solo has been a journey in itself because I'm thankful for what God gave me, but after everything happened with Cori, I was praying. I was like, God, is this it? Am I going to be an artist myself? Do I just songwrite? Like, because I know I have a gift songwriting, but I didn't know what to do. And so I think it was maybe a week later, I was asked to sing at Celebrate Recovery. And I haven't told anybody this story, so this is the first. I was asked to sing at a Celebrate Recovery, and it was about 15 minutes from my hometown, Baxley, Georgia, and at a Church of God there. And I went, and Hazelhurst is about 5 hours from Panama City. So just to give you like a distance of how this is.
Mhm.
So I, picked a couple of songs out. I was just gonna go do it. I was still mopey because my whole world had changed. And I'd been praying, God, I just need guidance. I need direction. So I got there and I was ready to go. I was working with the sound guy, and there was a guy that came up to me and he said, "Hey, didn't you used to sing with a girl?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I sing with Cori." And he said, "Did y'all ever do Celebrate Recovery in Panama City?" And I said, "Well, one time we did, and literally that was about 9 years ago when we did this, and we only did it one time at this one church in Panama City." And he said, "Well, I was there." And he said, and like, what are the odds of this happening? Like on this particular night, this guy talking to me about this. And he goes, I was there. And one of the songs that y'all sang that really touched my heart, it was Brother by Need to Breathe. And I sang lead on that night. Out of all the songs there, I was the one that sang lead on that. And so I was like, okay, God, I will take that as a sign. And so I went home and I prayed about it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it all. I want to be an artist. I want to keep songwriting. I want to learn whatever you have for me. And so I prayed about a name. My middle name's Alayna. My daughter's name is Alayna. My middle name is actually spelled a little differently than my daughter's. I use the spelling that my daughter has because my mom called me Alayna, but spelled it like Alana. So I knew it was going to get confusing if I did that. But so I just took hold of that and just ran with it. But it was a season of just confusion and doubt and worry. And you could let lies just come into your head, because it's easy to just get beaten up when your whole future changed, because we were supposed to sing together until we were in the nursing home. Like that was the plan. And then when the redirection happened, it was just, I didn't know what to do. So I definitely spent time in prayer, and I'm just so thankful that he's just allowed all these opportunities to happen.
That's really great to hear. And it's great to segue. That was a great segue. That was going to be our next point. I think Brandon would agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon, you have anything you want to add off of that?
Yeah, so that's amazing though what God's done through your story about that, including like those random encounters. I never get tired when God does that.
Mhm.
I think we've been following you guys since Victory Song. You guys did promotion with
Mhm.
new release today, and I've loved your music since then. And you released so many singles now. Now as an independent artist, solo, and your just recent single, "Where Do I Go From Here," came out. Can you tell us the story behind that song?
Oh my gosh, I would love to. So I was on my back porch. It was one of those moments. It was in August. The breakup happened in April. And I was just I was just confused. Like I had reached out to people. I had a doors shut, some doors open, some doors shut. So I was just like, God, I don't know what to do. You're gonna have to help me out. So I remember swinging and just looking up like, God, where do I go from here? And then I'm like, And so then I just put it to a tune, and I'm like, this could be something cool. So I wrote exactly what I was feeling in that moment of just, I didn't know, I had no direction. And sometimes you're not going to have direction, but you just have to lean on the faith that God has a plan for you, no matter if you could see it or not. So that's kind of where that came from. But I do want to also add that when I was searching for a producer, I reached out to somebody, and he's pretty awesome producer. He's pretty well known, just really really talented. I so respect him still. And I reached out to him with the song, and he said, this song is it's a good song, but it's not a slam dunk, and to keep on writing. Now, as independent artists, and this is like inspiration to anybody who's listening who's an independent Christian artist, it's easy to take that feedback from somebody who's well known in the industry and say, well, I guess, whatever, it's not a good song. I'll just put it away in the files and come back to it later. But I was so frustrated because it was my heart and I believed in it and I loved it, and I'm just like, and so I grabbed my Bible and I said, God, I need to hear from you right now because I'm so frustrated with this song that you gave me. And I opened it up, and immediately what leaped off the page was Isaiah 2:22. And it was, why are you putting all your trust in humans? That was like the theme of that verse. And I'm like, okay. So rejection is just redirection. And so what I did at that moment, I made a choice. And I said, I'm going to go off the grid here. Instead of following along the path that we should take, or that we think we should take, I'm just going to Google. So I Googled and I found Walter Hollowell, and he is one of the most talented producers that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. I told him exactly what I wanted, and he made it happen. I said, I want a cross between Taylor Swift and Toby Mac. And when the first listen that he sent back to me, I was like, that's it. You did good with that. But that just goes to show that if God puts something on your heart, you have to follow through with that, no matter what kind of feedback you get from other worldly people. I mean, feedback is good. We should always take constructive criticism. But if you get that constructive criticism and you still feel a gnawing on your heart, it's probably God telling you that you need to get that song out there, or you need to go and do that plan or thought that you've had in your head. And, so.
That's awesome. I love that, especially like the song. It's such a great
Exactly.
encouragement. I love the sound of it, and it's hidden radio too, which is incredible to see.
I'm so thankful to the stations that are playing this song. It's pretty cool.
And for
Definitely.
for people listening, if you haven't checked it out, you can find it everywhere on streaming, YouTube. You can even go to Kelly's page. I think we even shared the song on our page at one point, Brandon, if I'm not mistaken. I
I
think
think
we
so.
shared it.
Yep.
But so looking in the future, looks like you're working on a worship album. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What that looks like coming up?
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. It just kind of came out of nowhere. I am just playing around with streaming. Streaming is such a
Mhm.
unique thing, especially Spotify. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to how people add you. Like, I don't even know. I'm trying to figure it out. But I've teamed up with the Anthem company, who's really pretty knowledgeable in how to just work the algorithm. with real people, not just bots, you know. But anyway, so I was like, I'm gonna put out just covers. I'm just gonna do covers. And I was just gonna do one at a time, you know. And then I had a friend recently who asked me to record It Is Well by Bethel to play at her mom's funeral. So of course I had to do that, you know, obviously.
Mhm.
So I did, and I sent it to her, and she came back. She actually called me back and was like, "I'm crying. This is great. You know, thank you so much." And so it sparked that in. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do a full album. I want an album. I'm just gonna do this. And so I had a couple of people, you know, I put it out there. And I had a couple of very talented people tell me, "Hey, if you need some strings, you know, if you need me to help you produce it, if you need like all this, I'm here for you." And I love that, but I'm the type of person that if too many things start throwing at me, I'm gonna procrastinate, and I don't wanna do that, you know, I wanted to go
Mhm.
ahead and get this done. And
Yeah.
so I felt in my heart that I wanted to do a raw worship album where it's just my voice, just piano, no overproduction, no nothing else, and just be worship. And so I'm producing it myself. You know, there's gonna be imperfections because I'm still learning how to produce, but I've got 10 songs, and I'm gonna do For My Good is another one of my singles that I released. I've done an acoustic version of that. It will be on there as well. But it's just worship songs that have my heart that I really relate to. Um, and I'm gonna release it on my birthday. My birthday is March 8th, and so I've already got it all together. It's just I did a solo photo shoot, which is really hard because you have to set your phone timer and just like run and pose and then come back. So, but the picture that came out of that, I mean, it was perfect. And so I know this is also a God thing, and I can't wait to see how He's going to use this album. There's so many awesome talented artists out there who wrote these worship songs. I'm so grateful to them because they have spoken to my heart, and I just can't wait to share just a piece of me. I've never actually had anything out there that was just solo me, solo piano. So it's very vulnerable. It's a vulnerable album for me, but I'm really excited to get it out.
I can't wait to hear it either.
Thank you.
Brian, you have anything you want to say?
Yeah. So along with killing it as an artist, as we know you are, because so much amazing music and excited for the album coming out. You're also a wife and a mother. You're balancing all that. What's it like now? Because being as in a duo, I'm sure it was much easier, doing the weight back and forth. But now that's all on you, along with everything else. How do you go with balancing all that God's given you to, what you do?
Man, I'm so thankful for my family because it is very important to have just a strong family foundation and a strong family support if you're going to do this. And my husband backs me 100%. He's always like, if you need me to sing or play guitar or whatever, I'm here for you. But my mom, my grandmother, my dad, you know, everybody steps in. They're like, hey, I'll watch the kids. If you need to go to Nashville, Nashville's about 6 hours away from where I am. But
Mhm.
they, you know, they're always there encouraging. They're always there just praying, and I'm so thankful to have that. And my kids, it's really cool because my daughter is 11 and my son is 6, and they kind of see the whole process of things happening and how music is made and who I know, you know, and they hear the people on the radio and they're like, oh, well, you know, cool. So, and they're also learning instruments too. My husband and I are teaching them how to play piano, play guitar, make music, produce, you know, music. My daughter did that for a project. So just it's really cool. I have a really good family support. I'm so thankful for that.
That's awesome. I love that.
That's awesome. We just have
But
a few
don't
extra.
think for a minute that
Mhm.
you don't get mom guilt though. I also want to throw that out there. If there's independent artists who are balancing families, you are going to have that in your head. And there was actually a time where I felt real guilty because I was like, you know, I'm so involved in this and I want to make sure that I balance
Mhm.
my time out well. And that is important. But also there's a lot of chaos and confusion with those thoughts. And our God is not the God of chaos and confusion. So
Mhm.
just, you know, any independent artists who are struggling, trying to
Mhm.
find that balance, you've just got to have your own discernment and know that the devil likes to sneak in there and make you feel those lies and guilt as well. But just know that if God has laid something on your heart to do
So true. Yes.
it.
Yeah, that's really true. We just have a few extra minutes with you today. We like to give our guests the platform for them to speak. So if you have anything you want to bring up, talk about, the floor is yours.
Okay, let me look at my notes because I've said I think just about everything that was on my notes.
No, you're good.
No, I'm excited to see what God's gonna do. I've got, right now I feel like I'm in a season of just rest and self-discovery and just growth. And I'm here for it. I'm excited. I've got something really cool happening this summer that I'm not gonna announce it because they haven't announced it yet, and I'm dying for them to announce it. So I hope they do soon. But I'm really excited, a really cool opportunity that I can't wait to share. But I'm just like I said, I'm just so thankful that God continues to use me, and I can't wait to see what is in store.
Yeah. We can't wait to see what's next. If you guys don't, you can follow her page. I think it's just Kelly Alayna Music. I don't remember exact your social media handle. I think that was
Yes,
right.
everything is you're right, you're absolutely right. Everything is Kelly Alayna music.
And you can find her on Instagram, Facebook. I think she's active on TikTok too, if I'm not mistaken. So
I
give
try
her
to be.
some
TikTok's
support.
weird.
TikTok algorithm is weird. So there's
I
people
had
that
saw somebody treat it like a gamble. Like, it really is a gamble. You can throw
yeah.
something out there and it can get so many views, and then the next time it's like 5, and you're like, "Well, somebody hated me. I don't know what that was."
Everyone's telling Brendan and I to have a TikTok channel. There was like a big we were someone we met with told us we should have a TikTok channel for our podcast, but we're like,
You never know, it could work. You
right?
may go viral.
Exactly. Well, thank you again for joining us. We appreciate you joining in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And to everyone who tuned in, we hope you guys all have a great week and we'll see you next time and take care, everybody.